All right, class, I started this problem and then I screwed up and I had to redo it. So, yes, I'm not infallible, even though I like to pretend I am. So on question 3a, they tell you x equals 2 is a root. It's a zero of the given polynomial. What that really means, and that this is what you have to write, is when they say x equals 2 is a root, that means x minus 2 is a factor. You subtract the whatever they say the root is, you subtract it from x, and that becomes a factor. So now we're going to divide x minus 2 into the polynomial. And we do it the same way we've been doing it. We put the x minus 2 down the side. And we put the first term of what we're dividing into, 5x squared cubed there. And then we start working our way through this. So x times what gives us 5x cubed. I'm going to scooch this down so I have a little bit of space, a little more space. There we go. So x times 5x squared. And that does give us 5x cubed. And then when you multiply it by negative 2, because remember, x times 5x squared has to be that. Negative 2 times 5x squared is negative 10x squared. Okay? So that's our first term. And then we look and we go, okay, we got negative 10x squared. What do we have to add to it to get 4x squared? So negative 10x squared plus what gives us 4x squared? And that's going to be a positive 14x squared. And we can, always on a quiz, you want to check it. So what's 14 plus a negative 10? That is indeed positive 4. And then you ask the next question is, okay, what do we have to multiply x by to give us 14x squared? And that's going to be 14x. The negative 2 times 14x is negative 28x. This term is just negative 2 times 14x, and that goes there. I'm going to have to increase the size of my box. So now we have to ask ourselves, what do we have to add to negative 28x to give us a negative 20x? And that's going to be, what is that, positive 8x, right? Negative 28 plus 8 is negative 20. So yes, so that's a positive 8x. And I probably shouldn't put the plus or it might confuse you. So it's 8x, okay? And then you ask yourself, okay, x times what gives you 8x? And that'll be a positive 8. And then this is negative 16. Now, you checked. Because we said x minus 2 is a factor. That means this number here has to equal the last term of our original polynomial. And it does. So we have now broken down 5x cubed plus 4x squared minus 20x minus 16 into, into 5x squared plus 14x plus 8 times x minus 2. Now we look. Now we can try to factor this. This is going back to our original, factoring of quadratic trinomials. We look for the product sums. What multiplies to 40, because it's going to be 5 times 8, and adds up to 14, okay, which is the middle term. And you look, and it's going to be 10 and 4, okay? Then we have to do this. It's kind of similar to what we did over here. It is very similar. It's the same kind of thing. So we draw a box, and we put our first term here. We put our last term here. And then we just put 10 and 4, 10x and 4x here. Okay. And we go, okay, 5x squared, 10x. We can pull a 5x out. This would be an x. 5x times, and now it's very much the same thing, right? 5x times x gives you 5x squared. What do we multiply 5x by to give us 10x? And that's going to be plus 2. And you check real quick. You just look at 5x times 2 is 10x. And then what do we have to multiply x by to give us 4x, and you'll say 4. Okay? And you check, real quick. 4 times x is 4x, and this has to be true. 2 times 4 does indeed give you 8. So we just factored this polynomial. So we can write this in factor form as y equals, okay, no, that's not this problem. So we have x minus 2, because they gave us 2 as a 0, or root. And then the other 2 will be x plus 2, and 5x plus 4. The roots, you just said each of these factors equal to 0. So that would be x equals 2, because that's a 2. That's a negative 2. This is the only one that's a little ugly, because you have to solve 5x plus 4 equal to 0. Subtract 4 divided by 5. You get negative 4/5. So you get 2, negative 2, and negative 4/5. All right? And that's when they gave you x equals 2 as a root. Now, look at this one. This one's a little bit trickier. Just a smidge. Okay, they give you x equals negative 3 as a root. But before you do anything, you should realize that x minus 3 is x plus 3, I should say. But before we divide, do you notice that we could factor out an x? We can GCF out an x. So we can rewrite this as x times 2x cubed minus x squared minus 18x plus 9. All right? So we have this. Now, we can divide this mess by x plus 3. So we start with the 2x cubed here, the first term. Okay, and we put the factor x plus 3. Notice I am not including this x. I had to pull it out. You got to do that first. All right, I don't think your quiz will have this, but this is a good example. So we do this. Oh. And then you just go, okay, what do we multiply x by to give us 2x cubed? And that's going to be 2x squared. And then 3 times 2x squared is 6x squared. What do we have to add to 6x squared? What do we have to add to give us negative x squared? And that's going to be negative 7x squared. And you check, right? Negative 7x squared plus 6x squared is indeed negative x squared. And then what do we multiply x by to give us negative 7x squared? And that's going to be negative 7x. And this is going to be negative 21x. We've done this enough that I don't really have to show you every painful, circling everything. And then we have to decide, okay, negative 21x plus what gives me a negative 18x? And well, that's going to be negative 3x. Or positive 3x. All right, and this will be a plus 3. And then we got 9, and that matches. All right, so now we can rewrite this as x plus 3, and then 2x squared plus or minus 7x and plus 3. And I'm sorry you're going to hear this. Can you kind of tell kids not to come in until I finish this? Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so now we have to factor that 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. So that's your good old-fashioned quadratic. So we go, what multiplies to 6 adds up to negative 7, and that's going to be negative 6 and negative 1. So then we rewrite this as 2x squared. We have a 3 here, and then we're going to put negative x there and negative 6x there. Okay, remember this is just like, this is the box, all right? So we got that. Make sure that adds up, yep, right? Negative 6 plus negative 1 is negative 7. And then we GCF. So let's see, what's common to 2x squared and x? You can pull out an x. And then this will be a 2x to give us the 2x squared. And this would have to be a negative 3, so that gives us a negative 6x. X times what gives us negative 1x, and that's going to be negative 1. And then negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. So we factored it. So the factor form of the polynomial is going to be x plus 3, x minus 3, and 2x minus 1. The zeros, or the roots, are going to be negative 3, positive 3, and 1/2. And that is your review. So anyway, you guys are coming in, at least first period is. So I'm going to end this now. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.